train on Saturday.
And it is extra time. Good evening and welcome to the show. It is a Monday. We look back at the weekend, and it was an international weekend indeed, with the national teams right across the African continent and the world being able to play games against each other. But obviously the big talking point has been about the local team here in South Africa. That's Bafana Bafana, and all these celebrations that went with the non-qualification. And we'll try and break it down. We are going to be going interactive as well. PSL TV and supersport.co.za, and also on Facebook for all of your comments and a whole lot more, because surely there's a lot that you want to vent out. There's a lot that you want to say. You've watched the game. You've seen exactly what transpired, and what do you make of it? Obviously, Safa confirming that they are going to be going on appeal with regards to this. They call it an ambiguous rule that has been put forward as well. But before we get into any of that, here's a coach that has gotten the Zambian national team through to the African Cup of Nations. They managed to top their group. What happens today? He gets fired. That is the Italian coach, Dario Bonetti. Today, they said, thank you very much indeed. They finished runners-up twice in this African Cup of Nations showcase, defeating Mozambique as well as Khumalo Irons, home and away, and they lost to Libya before the revolution that was there. But Bonetti succeeded the Frenchman, Hervé Renard, mid-2010, believing that his contract would be extended after clinching the Cup of Nations tie. So yeah, top of your group, 13 points, one more than Libya, securing a place at the tournament, and the Zambian FA say thank you very, very much indeed. And we got the brains trust here indeed. Trust me, this man said no, he's not going to wear a tie. He's got a lot that he wants to say. The tie is just going to hold him down with his words. And I'm talking about the one and only Mamadou Gaye joining us on Extra Time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here on Extra Time.
Yeah, it's about time as well, man. We give you extra time to talk. We give you extra time to express yourself. Doc Khumalo, Farouk Khan, gentlemen, as always, welcome.
Thanks, Rob.
You strong?
Yeah, strong.
What happened here, Mamadou? Let's get straight to the heart of the matter. There are celebrations. We've drawn the game. Egypt have won convincingly, and we believe that we've won as South Africa. What's happened here?
What's happened is not understanding properly the regulation. The regulation of CAF is quite clear. And as a fact of the matter is the same regulation UEFA also is using. In UEFA, when you go to the regulation, it's in Article 7.04. In CAF, it's in Article 14.1. That says that in case 1, 2, or more teams at the end of the competition have the same number of points, now it goes to head-to-head between the countries or the team that have the same number of points. In this case, South Africa finished on 9, Sierra Leone, and Niger as well. Egypt finished on 5. Then Egypt was not concerned at all. Now, when you look at the game they play between the three teams, Egypt end up with 6 points, South Africa 5, Sierra Leone 5. Therefore, Niger 6, South Africa 5, Sierra Leone 5. Therefore, Niger qualified. Now, for Coach Pitso Motsemane and his players, they did not understand the rule. They believed that a draw was enough for them to qualify. That's why after the 90 minutes in Mbombela, we saw the whole team dancing and celebrating. To the surprise of few people when they received the SMS from CAF telling them, please go back and go through the regulation properly, go and read the regulation. As far as we CAF are concerned, Niger is the team who qualified to go to Gabon and Equatorial Guinea.
Is this an ambiguous rule? I mean, that's what the South African Football Association is saying, that it's filled with ambiguity. Is it?
No, it's a very simple and very clear rule. And all along, CAF has been using the head-to-head. And even UEFA is using it. Even though FIFA is using a different format, we know FIFA only organizes World Cup. And I think in football term, this rule is more competitive, because when I am playing you, that's where we really measure ourselves. Not somebody doing you favor. Like South Africa were crying about Egypt. Now, Egypt gave them the favor 3-0. They were dancing. I was in the stadium. Hey, Egypt won. Yeah. Egypt 2. Egypt 3.
And people just started dancing.
People started dancing, forgetting that when Egypt is putting one that side, you must put one also this side.
So you need to play a role as well. You need to play a part in your moving forward, because the head-to-head encourages you to especially win your home games.
And to beat everybody. Football, it's about defeating others. Now, when you fail to defeat Sierra Leone at home, and you hoping Egypt, the same Egypt the coach was worried about why they are using under 23, you expecting them now to do you a favor, you can come in through the back door, you must do the job yourself.
Farouk Khan, obviously a big problem that has been facing Bafana Bafana over the weekend, and that was the interpretation of the rule was not understood. The instruction said a draw, playing to qualify, not playing to win. What do you make of it?
Well, firstly, I want to say there's a saying that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is very true, because if you look at this whole campaign, South Africa went into their second last game with 8 points. Now, when you play away from home, irrespective of who you play to at least get a point. And in that case, you would have denied Niger the opportunity of getting 3 points. By losing to Niger, you now put them in pole position. And that then meant, okay, it's not over with. We still win our home game. We were confident that Egypt was going to do the business for us in Egypt. We win our home game and we through. I am tired of taking out calculators, Rob, every time we need to qualify.
I mean, you look at Botswana,
it's
first ones that were home and dry, made qualification. Their development has worked here, Farouk, and they had no problems. They're sitting back and waiting for everybody else to join them.
They went out there and they won their games, especially our home games. You know, there's a problem we have. As a powerhouse in Africa, we have the infrastructure, we have the expertise, we have the financial clout. But one thing we don't have, and that is the ability to qualify for competitions without being done favors. We did that with the World Cup. We have had situations in the past where we were looking at others' results to ensure that we get through. The only time, if you look back, was 96 when we went out there, and 98 when we went out there. We qualified through the front door. We went to Egypt. We finished runners-up. We were proud to play in those competitions, and we really did South Africans proud. Since then, it seems like we're always looking at getting through the back door. And if we don't stop looking at winning games in boardrooms, I'm sad to say, what message are we passing on to our new generations, youngsters coming in, that it's okay to be mediocre? We can still get through the back door. And that as a development person, it really concerns me that we need to ensure that we stop qualifying through somebody else's effort.
Okay. Now, Dr. Khumalo is a man well known for 1996 triumph, class of 96. That is, you played at home, you won. Yeah. Obviously, Nigeria were not there. We know, that's besides the point. Yeah. Now, when you see a situation like this, Doc, what does it say to you?
Well, Rob, let me take you back during our heydays. What the two gentlemen are saying is very true. But we had a team of characters, teams of guys who wanted to die for the country. But I'm not saying the boys, they never wanted to do that yesterday. When we go out and play outside South Africa, it's either we force a draw or cheer on top, win the game. But we knew very well how important the games were, because I personally, for the first time playing for Bafana Bafana, Dr. Ivan Koza came to me personally to say, you're carrying the hopes of the 43 million people. When we played Congo in Togo, when you remember Shai Vulavala 5 for times, Masinga. The guy for Masinga.
Yes.
And now that on its own, now here's a responsibility. It's been given to you as an individual because they know exactly what you're capable of. But they knew exactly what does that mean. So it means they had direction, they had a vision. So it was all about us qualifying for France. So now, whether we were playing then in '96, whether you should have brought England or Argentina or whoever, or any team for that matter, we would have beaten them. But in this case now, we're looking at the results, not only Saturday, but throughout. Yes, the boys, they might have done very well, but somewhere along the line, they never got it right.
Right, you talk about the results overall. Maybe let's quickly have a look at those as far as the qualification is concerned. And that's where in the story does lie. When we take you back to the 2010, the 4th of September, South Africa managing a good result there against Niger, 2-0 it was. And this time around, South Africa on the road to Sierra Leone didn't get a result. Should it have been a result? I'll get your comment now, Mamadou. 26th of March there, we saw South Africa beating Egypt, which was a fantastic result. It's an Egypt, obviously, that we knew then was in decline, and all sorts of panel beating needed to be done there. And then away, didn't get the 3 points, but like Doc said, forced the draw. We got the draw, got the point, and then Niger 2-1, beating South Africa on the road. Now that's the main one, the 8th of October over the weekend. Now when you look at that journey for South Africa, what picture is painted there?
Look, that is a reflection, true reflection of where we are now. South Africa not qualifying. Even in Sierra Leone could have easily won that game 3-0. They were all over South Africa. To be honest with you, Robert, this team of Bafana Bafana SC is not an African beater. It's not a world beater. This team scared nobody. I mean, this is one of the poorest Bafana Bafana team I have seen since Bafana was readmitted. And the downfall of Bafana started with Pereira. And everybody involved, ever since Pereira came into this country, going through Santana. The coach who is coaching Bafana today, Pitso, was part of the chain. He was with Pereira, he was with Santana, he's still here. And somebody have to stop the hemorrhage. I think all these people have to be fired. People are saying Bafana is playing beautiful football. Bafana was dominated throughout this competition. And in my honest viewpoint, Bafana don't qualify, don't have the merit to go to the next African Nation Cup.
But they're pushing it now. They're pushing it on appeal to say that at the foremost thing that they want out of this appeal is to be there in 2012.
They cannot be there because the regulation is clear. Even myself, to be honest, first, I made a mistake with the regulation when I saw what was posted on the CAF website. But when you go back, you do your research, you face the reality, you have to admit it. If I was Safa now, I was going to withdraw that appeal because it's clear. It's not only CAF doing it, even UEFA, who is the powerhouse of world football, are using the same head-to-head. I think that what Safa must focus and concentrate on is to clean up their technical mess.
Farouk Khan, from your side, obviously, yeah, Doc, sorry.
But look, I mean, personally, as an individual, I thought Peter did very well with his technical team. And the very same team that was used by Pereira, I thought he brought a lot of stability, and individuals actually went out there to perform, you know, at their highest level. You know, you look at the likes of Serrero, the introduction of Serrero, and all the youngsters. I mean, it's gelling of the old players and the youngsters. But I don't think that we just have to hammer the technical team. As much as we are so disappointed the way things happened over the weekend. But I strongly believe that the way he has introduced some of the youngsters for the way forward, I thought he did very well. But we cannot falter. We cannot falter our technical team because of this mess. I personally, I think Peter and the technical team did a marvelous job.
So if they can't be faulted, because at the end of the day, look, if you're coaching, Doc, and you're giving the instruction.
I'm talking in terms of way forward. Yeah. We wouldn't have seen most of the boys that he has introduced at the moment. But we're building forward for the future. So we cannot...
But to get results, Doc,
to get results,
you didn't go to Angola?
Course, I mean,
there was no Angola, there is no African Cup of Nations.
Wait a minute. If you were to look at this, obviously, you guys are banking on the Niger game away and the Sunday, Sierra Leone's game. But then from there, from the beginning, when Peter started to take over, what was his vision?
What's his mandate?
The vision.
The mandate.
I'm talking about the vision.
Okay.
2017.
How do you jump
No,
2017
I'm not,
to 2017?
I'm not saying, obviously, this year's, he didn't have the vision about them. But what I'm talking about, it's a coach that is talking about 2014, which is what?
That's
Brazil.
a World Cup.
World Cup.
Yeah.
No, 2017 was what? South Africa that was going to host the CAF Cup. Now, you want to tell me we should have started preparing then in 2016 for the team to go and play in 2017. It starts now. We started in 92 in order to win 96.
Doctor,
no,
talking
Mamadou.
of 2012
Yeah,
now.
but still, I'm saying you cannot start 2016 to prepare for 2017.
We
started
2012, we're talking Gabon, Guinea,
No,
Equatorial.
Mamadou, no.
Why are you taking us where we are not?
1992 was the team that started, I mean, in the 96 squad. We started in 92.
To target what?
To beat Africa.
To beat Africa when?
Yes.
In 96, you went to the first African Nation Cup, kick out.
Look, I'm not saying you are wrong, but I'm saying let's not make a meal out of this because now you're hitting everybody in terms of this technicality.
I mean, no.
I understand.
But those are the rules, Doc. I mean,
those are rules.
Yeah.
I understand.
And you need to know, boss, you need to give an instruction. So as a coach, and the two of you would know, as coaches, that once you've understood the rules,
yes,
you are then
I'm
able to go to the team and say, guys, this is what we need to do. We need to score goals, or we need to do whatever.
No,
but you're also playing at home.
My case here, it's, let's not say Peter never did anything for this country. Especially for the national team.
No.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Did he win a trophy? Did he win a cup? Did we ever qualify any national team for any tournament? You tell me, because coaching is if it did qualify any national team for any tournament.
Did Santana win a trophy?
That's why Santana is rubbish. He's not even a reference. Then we are talking. That's why I say we are contending ourselves with mediocrity. If the national team is for an accomplished coach, Pitso, to my knowledge, even in the South African League, he never won any league, any cup game, nothing. He never qualified any team in this country for under 20 Olympic, nothing. He didn't win anything with the national team. Now, here he is. We are failing to qualify because he cannot beat small powerhouse like Niger home and away. You cannot beat Sierra Leone at home. Now, my problem is more
from a domestic side. Yeah, he did win as far as cups. Yes, not the league. But Farouk, coming in from your side, I mean, you hear the debate that is on already. It can be emotive, but at the same time we need to stick to facts here, which is a case of somebody somewhere or collectively didn't do their work.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah. And then especially of a structure from a president to vice presidents to team managers to media personnel that are part and parcel of Bafana Bafana, is that you go in with the plan to say, what is it that we hope to achieve out of this game? What is it that we need to get out of this game? If you've read the rules, do you understand them? Can you interpret them to your players? Clearly that didn't happen. So how do we move forward?
I think you need to understand one important aspect, and I think you mentioned the word mandate. Whenever a coach takes on a specific job or assignment, there is a mandate, and the mandate is clearly stipulated in his contract or his conditions of employment. And in most cases, the mandate would be, you will be in this position if you qualify us for a particular competition. And if you don't qualify us, irrespective of how well you've done, and I do agree with Doc, I think Pizzo has done a lot of good work in as far as blooding in certain youngsters. But if you look at the complete scenario from day one, and I do want to say that I think earlier on we were definitely favorites to finish. After having beaten South Africa at home, and the way we played South Africa, tactically we didn't want to lose on that game, and we scored.
The Egyptians.
Yes, the Egyptians. And we scored in the very late moment when Pella scored from a tactical error or technical error in the Egyptians, ball possession won, counted very well, scored the goal that counted. Now, up to that point, the mandate was intact. But consequently, the mandate didn't end there. It ended on Saturday. And those two games were the deciding factor on whether we accomplished that mandate. I don't know what the mandate has been from Safa, but I'm talking in most countries. There is a mandate for the coach to qualify.
Well, here's a coach that's been fired by the Zambian team. They've qualified. So clearly, somewhere, somehow, Mamadou, I'll get your comment on the firing of Dario Bonetti here today. But let's go back to the game, because there are also certain aspects of the game that also indicate what the instruction would have been, might have been coming through from the coach, and that involves the goalkeeper of Bafana Bafana. As we have a look at this little bit here, you look at the time, 88th minute of the match. He's injured, he's limping, or is he?
Time-wasting tactics. Time-wasting tactics. Huh?
Look at the time now, from 87.3, we are now 90 and 35 seconds.
And I was sitting there, the crowd, the supporters, the public, everybody were crying and desperate for a goal. Now, here is Kune using delaying tactic, wasting time. A game of football, you have to qualify the right way by winning your game. Not always through the back door. That's tell you the mental weakness in the Bafana Bafana setup. That is a clear sign of the mental weakness. That's why they were busy all the time crying about Egypt. Please, Egypt, do the job for us. Egypt did. What about your own portion of responsibility? You failed to fulfill your own portion of responsibility, and you want to talk to us about Vision 2014-2017. The vision starts now. If you cannot deliver now, please pack up and go.
Okay, let's find out from the coach himself, his reaction after the game.
I hear that the result is 3-0 in Cairo. It puts us tied on points with Niger. And if they lost 3-0, then it means we have a better goal difference, in my opinion. But mixed emotions. Why mixed emotions? Because we played two different halves. I think we deserve to score, but Sierra Leone is a strong team and they created pressure on us. But we see Mafa, if it's guaranteed that we qualified, it's okay, but really I'm not happy with the result. I wanted to win, I'm not happy. But we played well in the first half and we should have taken it, but less experience. But let's hear what Kev says. I don't know. What do you say? Did we qualify?
All right, so obviously the mention there of a goal difference is what he was talking about. And as you saw earlier on, it was about the head-to-head according to that rule that came through there. Akayang says that, well, I feel down and helpless for my fellow South African Bafana Bafana for the failure for the African Cup of Nations, for I have personally counted them in as strong contenders for the championship. Now, the only thing that separates us from South Africa is wire called border gate. Otherwise, we are one. And at least the Springboks did us very proud after such a spectacular performance that they could not proceed to another level. And one thing I must admit, as a football fanatic and to all the players in the field of play, is delaying tactics has its own adverse consequences. Sorry, guys. Let's not point fingers at anyone. We've been united since the World Cup 2010. Let's find out what the president of Safa had to say after the match.
I must say, good for the boys. Of course, Egypt had to do it for us without us doing it to ourselves. Of course, these are issues that we need to say in terms of goal difference. We should be on top of the group, unless otherwise. You know, rules are rules. Sometimes you have these rules that people play around with, but so far we'll need to get that confirmation right. But if you had to get it right, we are on top of the group.
All right, so the president saying top of the group after the match, so it just gives you an understanding as far as who understood and who didn't understand the rules at that stage. And as we head into the break, Elvis Matala says, what a Mumish. The whole 49 million citizen turned into Mumish on Saturday. And how on earth can that happen to administrators, coach, players, as well as Shashvi, the journalist? He says, not being aware of the rules, we are going to be awarded the Mumish of the year. Mr. Kune, if you got your tricks from school, then go back to collect your school fees because you are killing our beautiful game. I think CAF and Safa must take harsh action against players of your caliber. Okay, going to be back after the break. Extra time. Mamadou here. He's going nowhere. You're going nowhere? You're staying? Okay. All right, Mamadou is going to be with us after the break. Shui.
The coach is gone, and I am sure that the Zambian wanted to have a great celebration at home, winning convincingly. When you cannot win at home, a country like Zambia, they see it as a defeat. But a country like South Africa, Bafana, sees a draw like a victory, even dance for a draw, celebrate for a draw, while on the other side, they are firing the coach for not being able to win at home, even though Zambia is qualified.
Well, I mean, having to play against the Libyan team there, Farouk, that's been making the headlines for the wars and, yeah, being held to a draw.
Yeah, well, it just shows, you know, that the pride of the Libyans, they came away from home, they fought, their goalkeeper apparently is over 40 years old, and it shows that, you know, they didn't come away from home to lose. They came with an intention of winning, and I think it's important that when you look at the mentality of a team, it is always a winning mentality. Even if you know that you can get through on a draw, it's sometimes better to aim for the clouds, and then if you hit the treetops, you're still fine. We looked very comfortable, and that's why I find it quite humorous when I hear people saying that we wanted to win, yet when you look at the way we approached the game, we made substitutes that were evident that we wanted to lock the game. We brought in Opa Manyisa to lock the game. We took out Parker. I would have thought you bring in Majoro and you take out somebody else, or you bring in an additional attacker because you need a goal and you're at home. That's just my perception of what I think is a more forward-thinking, winning mentality.
All right, and obviously a couple of the players, talking about the Zambian national team that also play here in South Africa and who will be heading off to play in the African Cup of Nations here, the likes of Kennedy Mwine, who's just as good a goalkeeper as he is a penalty converter, ends up being their top goal scorer sometimes, plays for Free State Stars. Also got Kapamba Chintu for Bidfairs Wits. You got Lusonda and Chansa, and Besuma's been finding his form. For Lamontville Golden Arrows has also been included there. And yes, of course, the man that used to be a young footballer of the year as far as CAF is concerned, it's Clifford Mulenga of Bloemfontein Celtic. So a strong contingent there, Doc. As always, we've seen Zambian players coming through here to South Africa to play and getting all the necessary top-level coaching.
Yeah, no, it's good to see them have qualified. And, you know, the likes of Musona, who was playing here in South Africa and now is playing overseas. And there is progression because they're producing players and they do have a way forward.
All right, and not only is it about the Zambian players, also got the players that play here in the Premier Soccer League from Botswana. We talked about Botswana being a model of very good development structures that have taken effect. So players from Bay United, SuperSport United, Santos and Bloem Celtic, all of them having to play there. So the depth of players also playing here, and that's helped them a lot, you would say there, Mamadou?
Even now we have Niger, player from Niger. One is with Platinum, one with Jomo. Everybody is coming to play here. And they are making sure that they get enough experience there to go back, play with their national team, win games, and qualify for the AFCON.
All right, talk about qualifying for the AFCON. Let's have a look at another game featuring Morocco and Tunisia. And what a game that turned out to be, 3-1. So massive 4 goals it was indeed there for them coming through. All the focus obviously being on the likes of Shamak, Marwan Shamak, managing to score a goal there the 20th minute. It would be interesting as well to note that none of the players that scored for Morocco are actually born in Morocco, but that's besides the point. Look at that bullet that came through from Sadala in the 40th minute. I mean, that's a great crack there, Farouk.
Fantastic goal. I mean, he struck it so well. And it shows that Africa possesses those players that can make their mark at the higher level. And we see it there with Morocco now scoring their second goal.
So second goal there coming through from Tarbat in the 68th minute, and really propelling them to all sorts of good things. You look at that. Wow. Goalkeeper, no chance. What do they call that? A grass cutter?
It's a bazooka.
And Rob, you mentioned just something interesting.
Yeah.
Most of those Moroccan players are not born in Morocco. Everybody is doing it. England, France, Ivory Coast. Why can't Bafana Bafana do it? You look at the team of Bafana Bafana, I am quite disappointed in that aspect also. Where is the rainbow Bafana we used to know? Bafana is an all-black team now. Where are the white players? There are plenty good Bafana Bafana players abroad. Why not go and get them? Why do we have to limit ourselves with players from the PSL? We used to know Bafana in its greatness when it truly used to reflect the Rainbow Nation, which is no longer the case.
All right, Doc, I'll pose that to you as well. I think you played in a golden era where really didn't really matter what color you were. You just represented your country flat out. So Sudan having to play against the Black Stars of Ghana. Let's have a look at how that game panned out. And again, look at the turnout from the supporters. It was a packed house there in Sudan. They knew. I mean, this is a Ghanaian team that is on a roll. Qualification, they are through to the next round of the African Cup of Nations there. Asamoah Gyan, the man that made all the headlines for leaving his club in the UK for big money moves. But here, again from a corner kick, they left it quite simple, unmarked, back of the net.
Fantastic. This is a clear indication of a team that has really promoted youth. If you look at a lot of players are from the under-20s that played in the under-20 World Cup, and this is clearly how the progression or the blooding in of players should happen. And I think Ghana is a good indication and a good example for the rest of Africa on how to bring in those younger players. They brought in, I think, 6 or 7 of those under-20s, and they played, many of them played in the first team, which is a good sign.
All right, and you also look at the Ayew brothers and how well they're doing playing football at the highest level there in the Champions League.
And this is what we were expecting from Bafana Bafana, to have the mental strength, the skill to go to Niger and destroy them, like Ghana will do, like Ivory Coast will do. That is the caliber. That is where we expect Bafana, not trying to negotiate a draw and hoping somebody will do the job for you. That is not the Bafana we used to know. And people want to tell me Bafana is playing well. Pitso is doing a wonderful job. I don't buy into that.
All right, that's the final word coming through there from the man himself, Mamadou Gaye. But just to remind you, in that match there, as you saw that packed stadium, and there was a red card that was flashed in the 57th minute there, Isaac Vosa being sent for an early shower. But in the end, it didn't really matter much as far as the end result is concerned. So let's take you through to yet another match that was played in the African Cup of Nations and see how the highlights went through as far as that game is concerned. So looking at it, yeah, completely different contrast to the packed stadium that we saw a few minutes ago. This is Tunisia and Togo getting to play in this game here. Hichri in the 19th minute managing to score, and what a rash tackle that came in, the referee being forced to make a decision on this one here. I mean, he knows.
Yeah.
This is not on. Early shower for you, has to walk off. And obviously having to face the embarrassment of it all. But Tunisia putting all the pressure there. And yeah, they were soon to be rewarded with the second goal coming through from Khalifa in the 79th minute there as they celebrate on the other side of halftime, combining with Chad's last-minute 2-2 draw against Malawi with just enough for Tunisia to overtake the Flames, nabbing a place in the 2010 African Cup of Nations. So the Tunisians is beginning this one by applying a lot of pressure. That paid off. They knew that they had to come through and get a victory. And that's once again, like we were talking about, being able to know what the job is on the night. They knew they had to come through, they had to win, because there was that draw between Chad and Malawi, which evened things out. So they managed to sneak through on the field.
Yeah, no, the basic way forward for any team entering any competition or game is knowing what your objective is. And if your objective is, we're going away, we're playing Egypt, and if we get a draw, we're happy, then you plan tactically around it. If you look, I want to just reflect back, and I was quite impressed with the way we played Egypt at home. Now, people may disagree with me when I say we were tactically well organized. Egypt found it difficult on the day to beat us at home. We then sneaked the result by winning 1-0. We were tactically disciplined. We didn't allow them space. They admitted after the game they were denied space and time. But yet, the same tactic could have been used against Niger. Now, this is where I say the objective then is, Niger, if we stop you from gaining maximum points, we deny you the opportunity of gaining 9. Instead, you only get 7. We get 9. We come back home. Now, it puts us in a more advantageous setup. From a tactical point, that is what I would have liked to have seen at the time. So it takes a lot of pressure. Now, the opposite happened, Rob. We went to Niger, went all out for a win, maybe took them for granted and said, Niger, we can run them. Let's go. And that resulted in them beating us 2-1. Now, it turned the tables. From having the number 1 or the favorites in the group, we now became second favorites. And then going into our last game, we then didn't read the rules, which said a head-to-head means you need to win against them. Because having lost to them, you now need to ensure that you beat Sierra Leone to add the 2 wins, which they now have. And that would have definitely pushed us through without any discussion on rules of the game or rules of the competition. I mean, a big league like the La Liga have the same rule. And again, I believe it's a fair rule, because if you can recall, many years ago in the World Cup, Rob, Brazil didn't lose a single game in the World Cup. Argentina needed to beat Peru by 6 goals. And guess what happened? They beat them by 6 goals.
Yeah.
And Brazil went home and didn't go to the next stage.
But that's why it has been built in to curb that issue. That's why both of the games were played simultaneously, so that no one has that added advantage. And part of removing the advantage is to make it head-to-head, so that there is no scoring of the 6 goals or the 10 goals. I think there was a team, 11 men in flight back in the days, and there were some ridiculous scores that were coming through from that end. Let's confirm for you the countries that have qualified through to the African Cup of Nations for 2012. Well, they're Gabon as co-hosts, together with Equatorial Guinea, obviously spearheading that, and Niger is there in third place. Not that they are third, but yeah, they've qualified, they've gone through. Angola, Botswana, Cote d'Ivoire, obviously the likes of Ghana, Guinea included. We talked about Tunisia and how they managed to sneak in there, but a lot of big name countries that must be added, including your favorite Cameroon. What's happening?
Why do you call them big names? They are small names. Not big, small names. Here are the big names.
All right, Mamadou, Gaye, give us your final comment, man, before we put you on transfer.
Look, it's simple. We've seen it. Football, it's one thing. Score goal, wins. Now, we don't want to see the repetition of what has happened in the build-up to the World Cup. Failing to qualify for the Nation Cup, we are grooming coach, we are grooming assistant coach, we are grooming technical staff to the World Cup. We made history for the wrong reason. The first nation ever to host the World Cup and be kicked out in the first round. The same scenario is in line. We will host 2013. People are saying Pitso is fantastic, he did a wonderful job, he brought all these youngsters, but Pitso is part and parcel of the team that start failing the nation since Pereira came in via Santana. Even him, part of that legacy rests on him. And today he's proven to the nation what he's capable of. I think Safa have to come out very strongly and stop it. Change the coach, change the technical staff, bring in proper expertise, and let's have hope for 2013. Otherwise, 2013, I can bet now. Pitso is there, first round exit.
All right, we did say you want to get the final comment from him. Now, a lot of people on Facebook worried about the fact that when I'm releasing you so that you can run away, you and Doc might have something outside. Just shake hands there for us, please.
This is my man.
Darcy! Yeah, Darcy! Yeah. All right, great one. We're going to come back after the break and give you more from the local flavour. We were debating football, and that's exactly what we do on the show. Big thanks to Mamadou Gaye for joining us. When we come back, extra time does continue. Shriek.